Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up. I'm Ross Aiken, your host here. Had a little pause due to work issues. It's juggling life, work, and 3 podcasts, and just reading the comics I need to read to talk about what we're going to talk about. So I reached out about over a week ago about what should I do next. I said I want to do something current because I hadn't really done anything current, and I really was like kind of looking for something Marvel again, and I got a recommendation of Strange Academy from Marvel. It is about a school founded by Doctor Strange and run by Brother Voodoo, where kids with mystic abilities are taught to use their magic safely. It is created by Skottie and Humberto Ramos, and I've not read a lot of Skottie. I mean, I've read a little bit. I've kind of glanced at his Wizard of Oz stuff, his Tiny Tots version of the Avengers, X-Men during their little war was kind of fun. I didn't read his Deadpool. I'm not a big Deadpool guy. I may go back after this and take a look at it. Humberto Ramos, I love his art. It is amazing, so I was excited about that. So I'm going to give you a quick overview, and then I'm going to tell you my impression of this series and this team. I consider it a team. It's a group book. You know, these kind of things where the kids are put together. It ultimately becomes a team book because they end up fighting the bad guys, and they do. It is basically a Harry Potter in the Marvel Universe in a lot of ways. So let me get started. Well, the school, again, founded by Stephen Strain. Headmaster is Brother Voodoo. I'm sorry, Dr. Voodoo. I keep saying Brother Voodoo. It's Dr. Voodoo. Jericho Drum, former Avengers both. I like that. It has a great cast of characters for the regular teachers are Zelma Stanton, who's introduced in this, the Ancient One, the Mindful One, which is one of the mindless ones, but mindful, which is I found very interesting. Agatha Harkness is a professor. Coach Taylor, who I'm not sure, he's only been glimpsed at. Sister Sarah and Senior Magico are all there. And then you have other adjunct faculties, it said in this list I found. Scarlet Witch, Magic, Hellstrom, Sister Grimm, which is Nico Maru. I didn't know they gave her a superhero name. I haven't read Runaways in a while. Shaman, Dr. Michael Two Youngman. Man-Thing, Dead Girl from Ecstatic, Wong, Rinthra, and Kana. And then the students. So let me just get saying, for a premise, I thought it was a good one. I had read the first issue when it came out, and I went, I kind of like this, but, money's tight. I can't really afford to get everything that interests me. I tend to get the ones that are, I stick to my Avengers, my Legion most of the time. Right now I'm reading a lot more Image than I've ever read, Firepower, Geiger. I'm reading the Black Hammer stuff. There's some stuff that's going out. I'm liking the Avengers stuff right now, liking the FF stuff right now. I'm really digging just random stuff, and I'm buying trades. And now that I have the Marvel app, I can play catch up. And I read the first 12 issues. And before I get into the characters of this team, I want to talk about the world building, because to me that is always important with a new comic. And I think sometimes in modern comics, it is more, I don't see this kind of world building, but it's wonderful. The art is stunning. Absolutely stunning. I have a friend who we talk comics, and he likes the more realistic looking stuff, and I like Mr. Ramos's work. I kind of like him, like Chris. I like Chris Pacquiao, if I'm pronouncing that right. They had their own feel, but they're still a little cartoony. There's a little, and I think it gives it a little energy and some vibrant energy coming off the page. I think it's wonderful. The choice of colors is amazing. His page layout is great. He gives every character a personality with their body language, the way they are, they stay and everything. It is just absolutely glorious. in my opinion. That it is what I want to see in a comic book art. And the color, modern coloring, it's just the things you can do. They play a game of tag jumping through vortexes, and you see all these worlds. The worlds that they're creating for us to see are just amazing. And they're earned. You're into it. You go, okay, I get this. But they created a cast of characters too. And they're all new characters, and I like it. I'm going to give you a little roll call, or this will be attendance. Emily Bright, who is the normal, just average girl, American girl who wakes up with magical powers and is brought here. She's kind of like the Harry Potter of this. I don't think there's all this deep. There's something about her power. She's really powerful, but that she's kind of the corner to. There's Doyle Dormammu, the son of Dormammu. He's a great character. They form a romantic relationship. There's Ave Borson and Eirik Borson, who are Loki and the Enchantress's kids. There's Desi, who is from Limbo. Lulavu, Toth, Gooslong, German Aguilar, and Calvin Morris. And then there are a couple new ones. It's great. You are introduced to these characters in the first issue, and you see them being paired off with roommates that they don't have a choice for. So you get the fire and water, the hot, cold people, two different personality types paired off. And you get to see in the first 3 or 4 issues all these people. You get to see everything about these characters. You know who they are. You're slowly given what their tics are, if you ever say, the things that make them them. And they're fleshed out. So by issue 4, they're all fleshed out. These are great characters. And I love a teen book where I buy that they are all friends or interconnected. Their relationships are real and interconnected. I think Perez Wolfman do it great in Teen Titans. I think Stan and Jack did it in the FF, and then Roy did it, and the good FF gets that sense of family. Certain areas of the Avengers, I think, I'll give 2 examples. Two of my favorites, the Roy Thomas era, the first one, and the Roger Stern era later on in the 90s. I also think Steve Englehart gets it a little bit, especially in West Coast Avengers. So, and there are other books. Those are just ones popping in my head. But these characters have relationships. They have relationships with one another. They have relationships with their family. They have relationships with their teachers. And it is all earned. It is all wonderfully dynamic. And it is a joy to read. I'm raving. I did not think I would rave. It's absolutely beautiful. I read all 12 issues, which are also available, in 2 trades. They're well worth it. And I'm going to continue to read it. The other thing I really liked about it was the fact that if I gave this to a 12 or 13-year-old kid who wasn't into comics, I think this would draw them into the art form. I think this would make them want to read comics. This is a good jump on for younger readers. It's perfectly good for an old comic fan like me to read and enjoy the hell out of it. Okay? But there is something about I have been a reader for a long time, and I've seen reboots, and people go, well, they're changing all the stuff, and it's not for me. And it's like, yes, but they need to attract younger readers. They need the old rule was about every 10 years you needed to replace your readership. So I get why they do boots. I get why the stuff that I loved as a kid no longer exists. I've been tweeting today a lot about Starman, because it was a weird day. I got a Starman sweatshirt, and then I listened to Earth 2's podcast about the 1952 Starman and all this other stuff. And there's some people that my age are going, Crisis bothered me. And then there's a gentleman on the Near Mint video YouTube, great about trades, talks about trades, really interesting, and I will put a link in the post as you can take. And he is mentioned that he's not, I heard him a couple times say he's not into Bronze Age and stuff like that. And I do not know the details, so I'm going through his back catalog. He's a great reviewer, and he has great insight on trades. So, but we each have our own. I started comics in the Bronze Age, and then was a young adult in my late teens and then 20s, and I like the post-crisis stuff. I can separate it. I've had problems post-Flashpoint separating it because a lot of the stuff that I loved is gone. The Justice Society legacy stuff, which I was huge into, and the Starman mythos, which I was huge into, are gone. And Snyder brought back Will Payton and makes no reference to Jack or that Will was dead and blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. It's a reboot. And for readers reading it in the last 10 years, say since Flashpoint came out, this is for them. And now we're going to see changes that they don't like. That's it. But this is one of those books that I think would be a good intro to bring people into the Marvel Universe. They might become fans of the Magic characters, which I always think it's a subset, and I'm not insulting I'm not part of that subset. I mean, I read Tomb of Dracula because my brother read Tomb of Dracula, and there was Tomb of Dracula comics in the house. So, it was it. But back to Strange Academy. It's a wonderful story. It's got great things going on. Kevin's jacket is a subplot. Doyle and Emily's romance. You get a little hint about Enchantress and Loki, so for stuff coming on. I love that during Uncanny Avengers, they brought back Brother Dr. Voodoo and made him an Avenger, which I always thought weird. I'm a huge Avengers fan, one of my books, but some of these later weird sub-lineups have been strange, so they don't click. Like if I'm thinking of what my lineup of the Avengers is going to be, it's not going to have him in it. But I did love that run of the first and the third volumes of Uncanny Avengers were great. The middle one was I need to go back and reread it. I'm going to withhold judgment. But this book is wonderful. If you like Doc Strange, if you like Dr. Voodoo, if you like well-defined characters who are teenagers. We can all remember what it was like to be awkward, have our first love, and taking our first steps out into the real world. This book kind of shows you that inside a comic book format, and it's enjoyable and well worth your time. It's on the app. 2 trades are out. I think it's still coming out. I don't know. I have not been following up with comic news. I'm a bad comic fan. But I think you should check this out. It is amazing, amazing work. So, it's great. So, folks, that's this week's little quick episode about Strange Academy. Next, on Wednesday, we will drop the second of my Legionnaire episodes, their second appearance. And after that, I think our next topic is a surprise, because I got a couple things and I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but we will see you will hear me on Wednesday when I talk more Legion, and you can also find me at Gallifrey's Most Wanted podcast, which is at Gallifrey's MW Pod on Twitter, or at Gallifrey's Most Wanted, a Doctor Who podcast on Facebook, or the Runsell Report, which is still on a little hiatus because things happen, and my partner on that, Jeff, is taking care of more important business. But I've got a special episode and guest coming up on that I think you'll enjoy. And then you'll be back. I'll be back next Saturday with whatever I've decided, or I've asked you to tell me what to talk about. So until then, be safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, and read some comics.